Hello everyone, and welcome to Feeding Tube Awareness Week, Day 5. Today's topic is educate and celebrate. I'm going to do both of the things in two videos because it'll be easier to explain. So, one of the questions on the website for today is, what are daily obstacles that you face on a regular basis? So some of the most common problems can be when you're tired in the morning and forget to screw the cap on correctly, and you start to just mix up what you need to mix up. It just spews all over your kitchen or all over the place that you're making what you need to make. Or there's tube leaks, tube malfunctions, pump malfunctions, and different types of many malfunctions. So a lot of people that I know knows that I love doing dance and theater. So there's different problems that I face personally because of the hobbies that I do. And that can be when I'm in the normal uniform for whatever dance I'm in. I have to be careful of, is my tubing going to get kinked? Or is my tubing going to just pop open and start accidentally getting milk everywhere? Both of those are not fun.
Do you wear your pump with every dance class you do?
No.
Why not?
So, since I'm in different types of dances, I am in ballet and jazz and tap and others. For ballet, I don't really wear it because it messes with my balance. For jazz, I'm taking a break from it right now, but I usually don't wear it as well because of balance, since how much I have on a regular basis, that can sometimes just mess up my balance.
Well, also the rolls on the floor that you do too.
Yes. And for different dances like hip hop or tap, I keep it on so that I still have the energy that I need, so I can do the dance moves that I need to do correctly without looking like I just woke up and it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not a morning person. And other things that I have to be careful of is if I'm falling because of theater or falling because of dance, I have to be careful of where I fall. Or else if I'm doing a stage fall and I accidentally go onto my feeding pump, one of my worst fears is doing one so well that the bag just explodes. It hasn't happened yet, but I don't want it to happen as well.
Have you ever broken any pumps falling?
I have broken about 2 or 3 from accidentally falling too hard. When friends and I are just randomly falling, just practicing our stage falls, I really have to be careful of, oh no, I've fallen too hard. When I know that I fall too hard, I immediately know, and it's too late because gravity works. And I've broken the back of a pump,
The frame of the pump?
Yeah, a frame of the pump, and I think 2 doors of the pump.
Yeah. Have you had to have costumes altered or bags altered for a show to meet the needs of your pump?
Yes, I have had to be different characters for different plays or musicals, and I get a bag made so that it matches my character, it matches the play or musical, and it matches my costume. Sometimes the costumes has to be 2 set pieces, or else it will have to have a hole so that I can just put my tubing in that. And sometimes it's a bit hard when it's a quick change, because if you have a couple of minutes to change to one costume to the other, I either don't even have the bag on, or my hands are fumbling and I can't get it correctly until the last minute and I'm going on stage. Yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the issues that you have had with the cords related to your feeding pump?
So the cords, sometimes it's really nice. Sometimes it can kind of be like a nightmare. Things that has happened to me are 1, waking up with your extensions under your back, which hurts, especially if the clamper of the tubing is accidentally unclamped while you sleep. That hurts, and it's given me a bruise before on my arm. But sometimes I do have to be careful of, is my tubing secure enough when I'm throwing things? Because if I'm throwing with my full might, it thwacks me straight in the face. Sure, my friends and I joke about it, but it still hurts because it's plastic going straight at your nose. And different sports, I have to be careful of, is my tubing secure enough? Going to trampoline parks, doing paintball or airsoft with friends, I have to make sure that my tubing is secure so I don't accidentally get my tubing pulled on obstacles or accidentally moving too quickly and pulling the tape or Tagoderm that I have on completely off, because that can really hurt my skin. And for swimming, I also have to make sure that it's where it's supposed to be, because if I'm diving or jumping off a 10-foot rock into a lake, I have to make sure that I know where my extension is, or else it just thwacks me on the side or the leg. There are lots of painful things that can happen with your extensions while having a feeding tube.
Okay, now recently the bags have been fitted with the infit system. Did you like the changes when they first happened?
Oh no. When it was first getting introduced to me, when I was just so used to having the normal red kind of Christmas tree connection, and then all of a sudden, I'm hoping that it's the same thing, and it's totally different. It's 2 parts. One screws on and screws off, and the other just stays. At first, the part that just stayed, which was purple, it broke a lot. Even when I was doing nothing. I was just riding in the car with friends, going to school, and then I look down and there's a big crack in the purple thing.
Does it help now that the extensions are also infit?
Yes, it helps a ton.
Yeah, that helps a ton.
It can be a little bit annoying since I have to just kind of twist it the opposite way of where I'm going to be twisting the extension on. And sometimes when that happens a bunch, my tubing just gets really twisty like a spring.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be annoying to work with.
Has that helped with the quick changes for you?
Oh no.
Doesn't make a difference.
Mm.
Okay, so what is the difference with the G tube versus the J tube for you, or the GJ tube that some people have, like you?
So For the G tube, it usually goes down into your stomach. It also depends on what your doctor wants your G or J tube to be in. And for the J tube, it goes into my lower intestines. And sometimes I would have continuous feeds until my body started to improve and I could have the rate of my formula going at a faster rate, making it so that my 3 cups a day didn't turn into an all-day thing. I could have it off during the night. That did help a ton, but my doctor and I started thinking, what would happen if I could do bolus feeds? And bolus feeds is where you can put your formula through your G tube, making it go directly into my stomach. That didn't work out for me. It just made me feel very nauseous because since my body doesn't digest things the way that it should be, I wasn't getting the nutrients or the proteins or the stuff that I would usually be getting from my formula. And I had a really bad weight loss because of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so bolus feeds is like taking a drink and putting it in the stomach. Continuous feeds is just small amounts constantly going in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. Hurting button.
Yeah.
What are some of the button problems you have dealt with?
So there's other things that most people don't know about for people with feeding tubes. But one thing that I have found common between people that I know who have tubings, like people with feeding tubes or friends that I have who have diabetes, we both share our hatred for doorknobs because tubing gets stuck on everything. Doorknobs, haunted house spikes, fences, branches, anything your tube will just get caught on without you even noticing. You have to be somewhere really quickly and you do a sharp turn, boom, your tubing gets pulled and your button hurts for the next 10, 15 minutes. It depends on how fast you were going. But then there's normal ones where there can be infections because everyone gets infections from time to time, and sometimes what happens with me is I'm just doing a normal day, and how I can usually tell if my button is starting to need to change, because buttons usually last 6 to 8 months for me. What I can tell is my button starts to feel like it's going into me, and then it hurts for sometimes 5 minutes. It feels like a really bad cramp sometimes. And then after the pain is gone, it feels like my button just kind of pops out again, back to where it's supposed to be. And that's just something that I've noticed happens because of how long I've had a feeding tube.
Okay, so with you being an actor and dancer, you've had many auditions. Do you wear your feeding pump with you during the auditions?
For new directors, I sometimes don't have my pump going because I want to show them that even though I do have a feeding tube, I can take it off and still do what they ask me to do. I still want to show my abilities with and without my feeding tube. So either I show up with my bag on, or I take it out right before I leave the car and go in and start the audition. And it is really fun for when there's no bag at all, because You don't have to worry about when you're doing dance moves that your bag accidentally hits you, because that's happened a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And something that you have to be aware of is your surroundings at all times, even if you're a dancer or in theater or just someone who doesn't do that type of stuff. If you're just being crazy with friends, you have to be aware of your surroundings, because hitting someone can both hurt both you and them, because your pump is very hard. And something that I sometimes do with friends that I don't like is when they ask me, "What does your formula taste like?" Horrible. Absolutely horrible. If anyone were to tell me, "Oh, it probably doesn't taste that bad." Just imagine.
Have you ever let them taste it?
Oh yeah, they had the same reaction. Well, they had a much worse reaction, because I've gotten used to it because of so many friends asking me, "I want to see your reaction. Show us." And then there's me doing experiments of, what can I put in this? Will honey make it taste better? Will nice spices make it taste better? Sometimes it works, but the aftertaste. It's always the aftertaste. You have to wash it out immediately, or else it's disgusting.
Is there anything you want to share before you say goodbye?
So even if you have a feeding tube or a nose tube or any tube at all, just know that you can still do hobbies that you always love to do, because your disabilities do not define your ability to do the things that you love. And make sure that you guys stay hydrated, do your meds, and make sure you eat today or tomorrow. And good morning or good night. I don't know where you guys are around the world. And goodbye.